An e-commerce site tracks the purchases made each day. The product that is purchased the most one day, is the featured product for all the following day. If there's a tie for the product purchased, sorry about this all, just ignore it. If there is a tie for the product purchased most frequently, those product names are ordered alphabetically ascending, and the last name in the list is chosen. So I know the description might be a little cryptic at first, but I think I always prefer to look at examples. But yeah, of course, just also understand the task clearly. It's important, but the examples always clarify it a lot more. So here's the example. You have like red shirt, green pants, red shirt, orange shoes, black pants, black pants. So if we count these, you see we have green pants and orange shoes were purchased only once. Red shirt and black pants were each purchased 2 times on the given day. After ordering the product, so when you order the products alphabetically ascending, red shirt is the last product listed, and then red shirt is the featured product of the following day. So why? Because what matters is that these products were bought the most. That's like the first condition. We only focus on those. And once we have those products, we want to order them alphabetically and choose the last one. And in this case, red shirt is the last product. Is this clear so far?
Yes.
Okay, Paulina, you have a little what is it, like advantage over here because you already know this task. So let's see for others also, just to make sure. But it's clear, right? Or
so they're ordering
mm-hmm.
the products like which sells most, and then in the like according to the alphabetic order, if it's like, for example, R is after than B for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
is it being the featured product for the following day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So it's really important that first they have to find those that were most purchased previously. Mm-hmm. And then from those, the most purchased ones, we select the last one that is ordered alphabetically. So in this case, we only have like black pants and red shirt would come after black pants alphabetically. So that one is going to be the featured product next day.
It's clear.
Okay. Okay, let's see the function description. Complete the function featured product in the editor below. Featured product has the following parameters. String products, an array of strings where each represents a purchased product. Returns string, the name of the featured product. It's going to return a string value with the name of the featured product, yeah. And then we also have the input. And I'm not sure if we had to process the input, but we are going to, just for practice. Input from the standard stdin, it just means like standard input. So basically what you type in. It could be anything else also. And in fact, we will use something else because it will help us with working on the task, not having to type it in every single time. There's an option to redirect the standard input. I think with Python, you also did that, especially with standard output, redirecting the standard output to a file. The same way you can also redirect the standard input. Okay. The first line contains an integer n, the number of elements in products. Each of the n subsequent lines contains string that describes products I, where I is greater than or equal to 0 and less than n. So there could be 0 products also. That's sort of the important giveaway over here. And here's the sample output. If you look at this one, if you count it, it will be, I think it's actually the same as the example they gave with the black shoes. Oh no, this one is like red shirt, red pants that appeared twice, only those two. And then when we order red shirt and red pants, the red shirt will come after red pants. Actually, it explains over here. Red shirts and red pants were each purchased 2 times. And the red shirt is the last product listed after ordering the products alphabetically ascending. Okay. Because first of all, I'm just going to create a directory for this one. I'm gonna name it like featured product. And I'm actually going to add this MD file as a .readme. README MD. And I'm going to commit this. You can commit over here like this, and I can just say edit featured product. This could be like the first step. So we have some description. And I'm also pushing it. And it will appear somewhere around here. I think I closed it. So here we have the feature product. And when you open it up, we'll have a beautiful description for the whole task. Really helps with organization. And now we can actually jump straight into the task itself. And I'm just going to call it like main.py. It could be any name actually. And when you have a repo, it's going to ask you, do you want to add it to Git? And that just means that it's going to stage it basically, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe not stage it, but like it's not going to be unversioned. That's the point. It's going to appear over here. Otherwise, it would appear as unversioned. Okay. Well, let's see the steps again. So how do we go about it? What would be the first step?
I mean, first, it's asking us the... Yeah, go ahead. Okay, I think I can go. I think first it wants us to count how many times the things are like appeared. So I would like try to use maybe like for loop for that, because we need to iterate through each item, and like we need to understand like which item used the most. Maybe we can create a list and we can put the like most used items or something.
Okay, but issue is first we need to also process the input. So this one will all be entered from the terminal or console, and we have to store it somewhere. So we have to also take care.
Maybe
in a file, yeah, but
and
actually
then do like with file, like we did last time.
Yeah, but this time it comes from the standard input, so they're actually going to write it in. So they're going to type it in, just like when you have like input, and then you have to type in something over here, and then it will be entered. That's sort of the idea. That's why
to convert input into string maybe, and then iterate somehow.
Yeah. The iteration is right. Like actually, we're given over here. We have to iterate like this many times. And that's true. Like after that, yeah, we can store all these within a list. We can actually create a separate function for that also, like store input, something like that, for example. And we can just write some description like storing the purchased products. And then we're gonna have we could add the parameter over here actually. And this one could be like a number of products. So I'm just gonna call it count. You can name it anything. And that one will be the number of products. And actually, now let's do for I in range count. So count times we are going to iterate and take these. and then we're gonna store it somewhere. So we have to create a list for that. Let's say products. We're gonna create a list, and we say products.append.
Excuse me,
And
Kevin.
yes,
You say range count. Can we do like range length count there? Would it
in this
work
case,
too?
no need, because we are going to be using this as the count. So we
Oh,
don't
okay, I
actually,
didn't see that.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
We don't know how long it's going to be. That's why they actually provide it for us. And then we can make use of this one. And then we have to prompt them this many times. We have to prompt the user this many times. And then we say, okay, products.append. And here we're gonna take the input. Or you know what? We can actually take it separately and say, let's just call it product. And we say input, enter the name of purchase product. Like this. And then they have to enter it one by one. And you'll see that this is a tedious task. And I'll show you what we can do in this situation in the IDE when we have to deal with a lot of inputs. We can also explicitly just put it, we can just declare it in a file and load it separately, or explicitly store it in a variable. But there's like another way also. And then we're just gonna append the product to the products. And once we are done, we are going to return the products. And we can try. Now, once we are done with like one step, we can actually start trying it if it works. Because I think the less you code, the more prone you are to mistakes. So it's really good to try it from time to time. And this is like, we're done with one part, so let's try it. So we're gonna say, okay, store inputs, and I'm gonna say, let's say 3 times. We're gonna store 3 different products. Now we're outside of the function, and we're just invoking this function with a value 3. So it's gonna prompt us for 3 different products. And actually, even we can add some clarification and say you will be prompted for, and I prefer to use this one. Like, I suggest you guys also to use the formatted string. If you put an F over here, you can use the braces and put variables within the braces. There are also other things that can be done, but for us, this is actually enough for now to know that we can put the variables within the braces. Right. You will put for number of, or more like this one. Okay, we are done, and we just want to print the products eventually to see that it was stored properly. So I just ran it now, and we have this over here. You will be prompted for 3 products. That's great. So I'm just going to try it. And here we have our beautiful products. So this part works properly. So we're almost done with processing the inputs, but there is still one more thing. We also have to ask the user how many times they want to be prompted. So you could do this either within here, then you don't need the parameter, but we can do it also outside. If we want to reuse it in different ways, in the function in this form, I think maybe it's better to just use it outside and say something like, how many products would you like to enter? And then over here, we have to store this. So I'm just going to call it number of products. Actually, yeah, that's just for the naming conventions. And one more thing that we have to do is either we convert into this to integer over here or over here, but it's going to be easier to convert it straight to integer because this is going to be always used as an integer. And in this case, Suppose I just want 2 products. Also, you can add an extra enter just so it doesn't look like this, but really it's just stylistic. And then you enter the name of the products, and it works. Okay, let's leave this one. I think we're done with the input. Is it clear? Is this part clear? How we are processing the input?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And the issue here is next steps, we are going to work with these products, but having to enter 8 or something different products every single time is extremely tedious, as you can tell. So it's very impractical to work with something like this. You can easily see this. So what we can do instead is try to store these inputs in a separate file. So why not do that? So let's create something like input.txt. And it's going to ask for the source control. No, I'm not going to store it for now. And here we have it. These are the inputs that we have to enter for our example case. We know the example case, we know what we expect from the example case, so it's really good to work with that, but we can also come up with our own case, and later on we will for sure. We can rewrite it later. So we have 8 different products, and we enter them over here like this. And I think we also need a new line in the end. Maybe it's optional. We'll see. Because, you know, the input is registered once you press the new line, so it would make sense. And what we have to do in this situation is interesting. Wait a moment. Okay. So here we have this this run configuration. Everybody has that if you're on Python, but actually even on Visual Studio Code there has to be some similar option like that. And we have this option here at execution. So I clicked over here, and here we have the configuration, and I can just go over to edit configurations, and I select my configuration. And there's under execution an option to redirect the input from, and then you can just simply select the input.txt file that we created.
Can we do it as VS Code as well or no?
I think there has to be a way. Let me just see. So what the key here is to redirect input from file VS Code. Yeah. I think it's a bit trickier in VS Code. Maybe only from the console, if you call it. Yeah, but you can, of course, with the launch.json, do that manually. But yeah, it's a lot trickier in VS Code. That's why I actually said that for Python I am not really that big of a fan of VS Code, because it's very generic and it's great, but not tailored for that use. You can do that, but you have to do it manually, and that's why I'm not a fan of it, because I don't like to reinvent everything. But yeah, there is I will check it after class and try to send you guys. Okay. If you cannot do this now, that's also okay. What you can do is just store all of this manually. You can actually manually declare the products that we are going to be working with and just enter them, like whatever it's going to be. Or you can also just load it from a file and process it as such. It would be like this if it was a file. Let's also try like this. So load file. Let's say something like this. And here I'm not going to give the count because the count is also in the file. And I'm going to say with file open with open. And I'm going to pass input.txt as file. And I'm
That's
gonna
actually what I was asking. Like,
Hmm.
what's the
Yeah,
so
we can.
VS
If you
Code.
if you cannot redirect it, then this is also an option to just load it from a file. I'm gonna give it because I know some of you guys also use VS Code, so let me give this as an option at least. And then we open it up, and we say, let's read the first line. I don't read. And this is gonna be how many of the products we're gonna have. Let's call it again count. I'm not too creative today. And we're gonna parse it as an integer. This is gonna be the first line that we are reading from the input. And then we know that we have to go this many times within the file. So we can just actually read line by line and say for I in range count. And we say we have to again create this products list and then say products that append, and we just say file that read line. We're gonna read it line by line for this one. And now we can actually return with the products. In fact, I think it's better to just declare it over here outside. And yeah, this is also an option, and we can try it. Let's see. And we're going to comment this out, and I'm going to say go to one file. And there we go. That's the issue. You would have to, in this situation, you see there's like new line characters in the end. So you can also strip, in this case, the input, and then you don't have the new lines. I think there are nicer ways also. We could use like the read lines and then store it all in an array and just completely get rid of the first part if we don't want to follow the logic. Like I will show that one also.
Can I ask a question, Kevin?
Yes.
So in this case, readline and this strip are their built-in functions, and readline is like
Reading line.
it's like, yeah, it's like the I in for loop. And can I think like that? It's just reading line by line. Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
just
it's
say that.
going to be, so it's going to read the line and like count times the number of times that this number over here. So it's gonna read it 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Like there are 8 products. It's gonna read 8 times all those lines. But yeah, again, another option would be to completely disregard this, because we know that we have to read to the end of the file. At least that's our expected behavior. In fact, if we want to deal with it, we don't want to bother with this. We could completely get rid of this and just say, okay, why not just read all the lines and say like products are going to be simply products that extend, we could also say, and by that read lines. So we're just going to extend it by the file that read lines, or we could also just return this whole thing. We don't even need the products in that case. And load from file. I'm in the file. Oh, I extended, sorry. Just return the assignment. But again, we still face the same issue, so we'd have to map and then strip it. So Let's keep it as the original for now.
Strip just makes like one line, right? Instead of making new line. Put everything in one line.
It's just gonna remove the new line character from the end, actually. When it reads, it also reads the new line character in the end of the line, and that is an issue for us. So it's just going to get rid of that. And that's why it's useful. I don't want to change the structure of the input because we're going to be using this input txt. So for that reason, I'm going to keep it as this. But an easier option would be, again, to just use the read lines, read all of them together into an array, and then you just have to strip all the elements of the array, and you don't have to bother with this one. Yeah, there are multiple ways. There are like I wouldn't say infinitely many, but there are really a lot of ways you could read the file. And yeah, what is wrong this time? Okay, return product.
Parentheses in the end.
Sorry.
No, you have it actually. Oh, strip has 2 parentheses.
Yeah,
No?
yeah, like I have to invoke because I was I was just undoing a lot of things, and unfortunately it also undid the invocation, and then it just returns, in this case, it just returns the strip function itself. Yes, there we go. So yeah, but for now I'm not gonna use that. I'm just gonna use this one, which I named store inputs, number of products. So yeah, what we can do in that situation is redirect from that file. I believe I already edited. Yeah, redirect input txt. And in the end, we print it, and it's right over here. Because there is no new line over here. Let's also add like new lines, just so it's easier to see. And there we go. There we have it. And this U will be prompted count times. We can actually ignore because we have to enter it anyway. Okay, let's move on to the next step, to the main task itself. And that one is going to be to, well, you guys tell me actually. Let's try it. Let's try solving it together.
We have to iterate over the list and find out which one is matching and count those, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true that we have to count, yeah. And how would we count it?
For loop or no?
Yeah, for loop, but other than that, where do we store it?
We need to add a counter, so like a variable that counts.
Yeah, we could just
We have it stored in the list, don't we? In the products?
yeah, we have the products in the list. I mean, what would be the practical approach of storing these different products somewhere and also their counts?
Like create another list for
Dictionary.
singles, doubles, triples, or
Create another
You can
list.
do dictionary.
Exactly, actually, we can use a dictionary, but what you mentioned, creating another list, it's very similar idea, but it would be very difficult to keep track of it. Imagine you have to remove one of the elements. You would have to remove it from the other list also. Not to mention that because of the structure of it, it would be significantly slower. But the main issue is, from our perspective, the main issue is that it's just a lot more impractical to keep it in separate lists. It's difficult to manage it. So yeah, what we could use is a dictionary instead, where we store these as the keys, and how many times they occur is going to be the values associated with those keys. So first, let's create this method, because this is our next step. We have to create the featured product method. Now they ask for this signature for the method, like feature product. You see, this is like camel case, if I'm not mistaken. Not the normal snake case that Python uses. I hope I'm not wrong, but let me just check. Camel case. Yeah, camel case. So this one is called camel case. This type of camel case actually. And the typical naming convention in Python is the snake case for variables. There's a comparison over here, like last name you see. This is last name, first name, first name. But when you have an entry task like this, you shouldn't bother the naming convention of the method because they're going to test against exactly this signature. So it's really important to leave it as is, unless it's not something that is all done with an automated test. But if it's in an automated test on a platform, you cannot actually modify this part of the signature. Maybe you can modify the parameter name. Usually it's possible, but not this one. Okay. So we have to stick to this one, which looks really strange. Along with the other methods, it doesn't match the style of it, but we can live with that. I just write pass over here, so it doesn't give us an error over here. This is like a nice way to suppress the errors while you're still working on something. Because otherwise it would say like there's nothing coming after this block of code. And it's expecting, of course, something. After all, we are declaring a method. And here you're just telling it explicitly, okay, yeah, there is nothing after this, but it's because I'm still working on it. I still have to work with something else. I just wanted to declare the method. Okay. And then we have string products as the array. So we just have to type products over here. And featured product, we can call it with the products that we have. I use the same name. You can give different names. It just seems very intuitive to me to call it products because we are only dealing with products. Okay. Okay, so let's try to count it. What do you guys suggest? What should be the first step?
Give it iterator and then for each. Maybe.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. But first, we should also create something where we will store whatever we count.
Create a dictionary.
Yeah, let's create one. So let's create one called product. I'm just gonna call it like this. So we declare an empty dictionary. And then what you mentioned is that we have to go through the products. So for P in products. And then over here, you would want to count it. But the issue is before you would increment the elements in the dictionary, you have to make sure that it actually exists in the dictionary. So you want to make sure that the product that you're checking is in the dictionary. So if P is in the prod dictionary, then we are going to go over to the prod dictionary, use the P as the key, because we're checking against the key, and then we're going to increment it by 1. And in every other case, we're actually going to declare this new key within the dictionary. And we're going to initialize the value as 1 because this is going to be the first occurrence. So, so as we go through this one, for example, maybe we can even debug it and just see it nicer. Yeah, let's just do that. So here are the products, as you can see. These are the products. Here we have the dictionary, and we go through all the different products, and we check, okay, we have green shirt. Is green shirt in the product dictionary? It's not in the product dictionary, so it's going to go to the else, and it's going to initialize the counter associated with green shirt as 1. And it goes to the next one, blue pants, also not in the dictionary. So it's going to repeat the process. Same with red shirt, black shoes, red pants. And then we have white shirt, again, still the same. Oop, I missed one with my eyes, sorry. But the point is, when it occurs again, it's going to go to the if, because it's going to go over here because we know that P is already in the production dictionary, prod dictionary. We'll see it with the other one. The current P is white shirt, so white shirt is not in the dictionary, so it's going to go to else. And it's red shirt now, and red shirt is already in the dictionary. So let me show you. So in this case, P red shirt is already in the dictionary. If you just check this condition, it's going to be true. P is already in the dictionary, so it's going to increment the number by 1. You see red shirt over here. That's it. And then we have, and by the time it finishes, we had this dictionary. Now we already left the loop, but basically we had the dictionary with all the counts. Is this part clear?
You need to fix pass at the end. That's why there is an error.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, also because I manually stopped the debugging after here, because we were just checking this part. Yeah, that's why an error, like keyboard interrupt, you see. But yeah, even with the pass, actually it would just return a none over here. Because implicitly all the methods return a none if there is no return value. And that's what's happening over here. In fact, we can leave this pass now because we started writing code over here. It's only an issue if there is no code underneath the method.
Okay.
But it's still the same. It's going to be none because we are not returning anything yet. Okay, so we now have the dictionary. So what has to be done now that we have? Let me just print it also. Now we have this dictionary over here. What do we have to do next?
Can you take a look on the task once again? I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. Do we have to count them, or there is something else?
No.
We need to find the most repeated product and make it like as a featured product. But I think
We can use max function maybe to see which one has max number, like.
Yeah, we can make use of max. Yes, that's true. The important thing is that there's 2 parts that we have to take into account. One is that we have to find the most frequent product that was purchased, and also we have to order the most frequent products alphabetically and return the last one in the alphabet. So that's the 2 steps. So what we could do is to filter out anything that's not the most frequent product. There may be more than one most frequent products. We'll see. In this case, actually, we can say that we have the red pants and the red shirts. These are the ones we are aiming to get. So we could do list comprehension, but let's try to do that without it.
Can we do with enumerate to unpack the key and value and check for the highest value and then return the key?
Enumerate for this one. I think you can just go through the key value pairs. In this case, you don't need to enumerate, I believe. Because when we go through because the order in this case doesn't matter. What matters is that it has to be or maybe you just want to go through the keys. That's what you mean. And then manually access it. Because there are multiple options. Let me show you what I was thinking about, and then I will show you what other options there are. Basically, what I was thinking is that we could go through. We're gonna create another one called most popular, maybe. Let's call it like this. This is where we're going to be storing the most popular products. And then we're gonna say for KV as in key and value pair in the dictionary products. And then we have product. And we have an option like items. Items is it's returning the dictionary items, which is going to be a list of tuples, which contains the key and the value. And we can unpack it similarly like to enumerate, but this time we are unpacking the keys and the values. And we can access them directly. This is like the most elegant way to work with it. But there are other ways also. We can just work with the keys also without the values, but because when we have the keys, we can always get the values. And what we check over here is we have to first, actually, we have to find the most popular item. I think I stepped a step forward. We want to find the most popular one. For that, we can use actually the max function. So highest count, we can say. And for that, we would check the values within the dictionary. We just have to check the values within the dictionary and see which one is the highest. We could also implement it without the max, but I don't want to do that hassle with that for now. But we can do that later, just for practice. But the idea is that we have the product and we have to check the values. And this one will return the highest value. So the highest count actually, which is going to be 2. And what we have to do now is we add all the items that have a count of 2 to the most popular items, because that was the highest count. And the way we check is if the value within this item is equal to the highest count, then we are adding it to the most popular one. We're adding the key. So look, this in the dictionary, this is the key, this is the value. And that's what we are unpacking over here. This dot items, it just returns a list of tuples that have these. Maybe I can also show it somewhere. Let's find. Yeah, like see, this is the items. You see, basically it's a list with tuples. And the first element is going to be the key. Second is the value. And it's all within a list. And that's why we can unpack it. Just like with the enumerate, but instead of the index and the iterator, we have the key and the value. And we can unpack it into K and V. We can name these anything actually. In fact, let me just clarify it over here. I'm just gonna use the good old rename function and I'm just gonna name it key. And this one is gonna be value. And then it's going to be much easier to see what is happening. So if the value is equal to the highest count, then we are going to append it to the most popular one. And let me print the most popular products now. Here we have these two. And let's also debug it so we can see it more properly. I'm going to debug it from here because we already had this one before. So this is the product dictionary that we have. These. And we want to check the highest value. So the second part, not the key, but the value. We want to check the highest value. For those, using the max function, you see the highest count is going to be equal to 2. Makes sense because that's the highest value that we have in the dictionary. And then we want to filter based on that value. So we created another list for most popular. And we say for key value in product items. As I mentioned, this product items, hopefully it's going to load. Oh, it doesn't display it nicely because this is a little special. It's a little bit special structure. But yeah, the point is when I showed in the console, it's just like that. Okay. And then we check the value. So we go one by one through the different elements within the list, within the dictionary. And the key in this case is going to be green shirt, and the value of it is 1. And that's not equal to 2, so we're going to skip it. And then again, something that is not equal to 2. We have one that is equal to 2, and that actually is the red shirt. And we're going to add that one. And we repeat the process until we get to red pants, for example, which also has a value of 2. And we're going to add that also to this list. And once we are done, we have the most popular products. And this time I didn't print it, but yeah. That's how we get the most popular products. Is this part clear? Or?
Yep.
Okay. If there's any questions, just please let me know. Don't be
clear,
afraid.
but very complex.
Okay, it's still good, you know, as long as it's clear, it's good. It just takes some practice and it will be clearer. You can just abstract away every time you use it later on, like the more you use it. Okay. So now we have the most popular items. What is the last step that we have to do?
Sort.
And I'm gonna print it. Yeah. I'm gonna print the most popular items just so we see it. So yeah, that's right. Actually, we have to sort it. And we have multiple options. Either we sort and then we get the last element, sort like ascending order and get the last element, or we sort descending order and get the first element. Which one is more sympathetic for you guys? If there's any preference, which one makes more sense? To sort it in a reverse order and get the first element, or sort it normally and get the last element? I guess the more logical one, because of the task, is going to be sorting normally and then getting the last element because that's exactly how the task described it. So
why we are sorting it? Because of the alphabetic order?
Exactly. And it's worth noting that when we use just the built-in sort, it's going to sort it alphabetically. Like we don't have to specify anything else. Python knows how to compare strings, so we don't have to bother with that part, thankfully. So all we need to do is say most popular, that sort is going to sort it. And actually they switched in this case. And then we have to return the last element, which we can just use the slicing. Oh, sorry. Slicing. And there we go. That's the red shirt. Actually, that's the one we were looking for. Or if you forget about slicing, that's also okay. You can just check. Length of the most popular -1 is the same. Same idea. It's just a shorthand.
I'm sorry, why do we return this last thing? Is it the part of the task?
Yeah. We have to return the last one in the order once we sort it. You see? We have to sort it alphabetically ascending, red pants, red shirt, and we have to return the last one. It was mentioned here. Alphabetically ascending, and the last name in the list is the chosen. Yeah, this one.
But what's the logic behind it? So meaning like the last sorted item was the last purchased item? Or why don't we get just like the first item when we're sorting it alphabetically? I mean,
because they want to get the last one. Actually, they specifically ask for the last one, so the one that is the farthest in the alphabetical order. So if we had something like, because red pants and red shoes are pretty similar, let me just rewrite this to white shirt instead. If we had, for example, white shirt, it would be the featured product, because if you compare W with R, Of course, W comes after that. That's sort of their condition for that. I mean, from a business point of view, it doesn't make sense, but they
Yeah,
just always.
that was my question. I guess they just wanted to know like if we can like
Okay.
sort of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just comparing the strings and finding the one that is the farthest in the alphabet, closest to the end of it.
Elena, that's the hell of a task, to be honest.
Was it like